It has been a hot summer already, and we still got some to go.
Yeah.
This may be the time of year that people start thinking about when it's time to replace those full units. We have Renee here with LCS Heating and Cooling walking us through that. Is there a typical or a perfect brand to go with when it comes to finding that equipment?
You know, we get asked that question all the time. And to be honest, there's no best brand. So all of your major brands of equipment, so think Daikin, Rheem, Carrier, Bryant, Lennox, they're all really good brands. Each of them have their own, bells and whistles and things, but you've got efficiency options, you've got great warranty options. It really comes down to the quality of installation. How it's installed in your home makes way more of a difference than the brand of equipment.
I would have never thought that, because my assumption was kind of one piece fits all and there's just one way to install them. But are you saying that's not necessarily true?
Well, it's not. So you do think that it's just standard, right?
Sure.
There's a standard installation. You pull a furnace out, put one in. Pull an AC out, put it in. Plug and play. Not at all. So there are many things that go into an installation, and if it's not done properly, it can affect the operation, it can affect the efficiency, and it can even affect how long that unit will last. And so a couple of examples: moisture has to be removed from a system. If it's not removed properly and that moisture stays in the system, you are going to have problems, maybe not right away, but down the road, you could have a lot of repair issues and you could have some early replacement issues from what it should be. So that's just one example. Another one that I like to give that's one of my favorites because I can relate to it more, thermostats. So we think about, okay, you see thermostats at your home improvement store, so that should be pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's different types of equipment. There's single stage and two stage and modulating and variable capacity and variable speed and communicating and all these different types of, so you've got to have the right thermostat for the right piece of equipment, and then it's got to be wired correctly and it's got to be programmed correctly.
Yeah.
And so if it's not wired or programmed, you may have invested in this really efficient system, but you're not getting the full efficiency because it's not wired up correctly. And so the thermostat's kind of like the hub, right? So if it's not speaking as it's supposed to the furnace and air conditioner, you may not be using its entire capacity or functionality. And so then you're not saving on your utility bills like you should have, or different things like that.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
yeah, the crazy thing about it is if it's not installed correctly, you may not know right away.
Right.
And so it's something that can come down the road, and it can be very costly down the road. There are other times when even something as simple as sizing and it's not simple, I shouldn't say that, but sizing your system correctly to your home and to your ductwork. We were literally just at a house today in which the air conditioner turns on, runs for like 30 seconds and turns off. It's because it's way too big for the house. And so it's like blasting air, meeting temperature, shutting off, right?
Interesting.
So those people are gonna have obviously like comfort issues. They're gonna have humidity issues because you can't control humidity like that.
Yeah.
And that system is less than a year old. And so it's like 9 months old. So they're already saying like, what are my options? Your options are to replace the system, right?
You don't want to have to double replace.
No. So it's really important to make sure the quality of installation is there.
So how do we know that it's there then? How do I know when I'm watching that things are being installed the right way, or whatever that looks like?
Yeah. Even if you watch an installation, you're probably not going to know because you're not in the trade, right? And so the biggest thing is to do some research on the company. So a lot of people do a lot of research on the brand of equipment, and they'll say, oh, I saw these great reviews for this brand, or these reviews were terrible for this brand. I could go online right now and find 500 good reviews and bad reviews for every brand out there, right? But looking at the installing company, number one, are they licensed? That's a really big deal. So by being licensed, they can pull permits and follow city codes, which are there for your safety. Do they have any certifications from third-party, accreditation places, right? So Air Conditioning Contractors of America, they have one, for example, it's called their Quality Assurance Program. So companies can get certified through that, which says that they're following different quality protocols and codes for a quality installation.
Okay.
There's, trust those reviews. And so companies that are doing a really good job, they're installing well, they're providing great customer service. Can you get a hold of them if you need them? They're going to have good reviews online.
Yeah. You guys are experts when it comes to all of those different types of equipment as well, which is nice to know that if I get something, I can trust you guys to get that put in there.
Absolutely,
is awesome.
yes. And so it's one of those things, like I said, you have so many options when it is time to replace. I mean, people ask all the time, well, how much is it going to be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could be looking at a range from $8,000 to $25,000.
Sure.
I mean, there's a huge range, but but there's different, so many different options, efficiencies, warranties, just all kinds of different things that go into choosing the right system for your home.
Last thing from me, when do you know it's time to replace it? Because I think that's one of the questions where if it's been hot this summer, you go, my house isn't getting cooled at all.
Right. So it really did. Number one, if your system is out of warranty, it's probably more than 10 or 12 years old, and so you're probably starting to approach that life expectancy, right? If you're starting to have to do a lot of repairs and you've got a lot of nuisance kind of things, if it doesn't seem to be cooling as well as it used to, those are things that you might want to, it might be time to consider either replacing or at least budgeting for that. You know, the convenience and inconvenience of being without cooling and heating, like I always say, like, are you a gambler or are you not a gambler? Yeah. So if you like Vegas, let it run and you know, take your chances with it. If you don't and you say, hey, I've got so much going on, I don't have time to be without air conditioning, then you might want to be proactive and replace it before it completely dies. It's kind of a personal preference.
Yeah. Get a hold of LCS Heating and Cooling to make sure that you get those systems replaced when it's time. Renee, thank you so much as always. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here.
We'll have all the information at Life.Style.Live.tv.